Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Live Company Group PLC investor presentation. Throughout this recorded presentation, investors will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged and can be submitted at any time using the Q&A tab situated on the right-hand corner of your screen. Just simply type in your questions and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question it answers during the meeting itself. However, the company review all questions submitted today and publish responses where it's appropriate to do so. Before we begin, we'd like to submit the following poll, and if you could give that your kind attention, I'm sure the company would be most grateful. I'd now like to hand over to the management team from Live Company Group. Good morning to you all. Over to you, Sir David.
Hello. It's been some time since we last spoke, so I'm very happy to be here. I was asked after the release of the broker's note to give some time between the publication of the broker's note and speaking to you all. So I think enough time has gone by, so I feel very comfortable that we can have this webinar. I'd like to take you through the basic points of the broker's note. You've all, I think, received it and read it. It basically explains how the company is now divided into 4 divisions, and it also explains that each division is making a profit, which is very important. Obviously, the big development in our lives has been the creation of the Kpop division, with the 3 events that are due to take place later this year. I think the broker's note explains basically most of the facts of the company going forward. We came out of COVID. COVID was, looking back, a pretty terrible time for all of us, not just personally, but economically. Our business basically stopped. And the fact that we're still here, I think, is a testament to a lot of resilience and a small group of very good people. I think we've been through a transformation. Transformation is not quite finished yet, but is nearly done. And I think we can look forward to a profitable year end and cash in the bank and profits going forward. So this is really an important time for the company. And so without further ado, I think I should just explain where we're going. This is a completely, the vision I have is that come September, our company will be a completely changed business in many ways. First of all, we've developed a new logo. This is the first time it's been shown to anybody. And this is what the new logo of the company is going to be, based around Live Company Group. Some of you wrote about the magazine that we produced in-house, and you said, well, that's great, but where's the second edition? Second edition actually will be coming out mid-July, and that's the front cover of the second edition, which will focus on what we do in Brick Live, which is quite significant, and also look forward to the Kpop shows that are coming forward. Now, since Kpop is the crucial point of the company, I'd asked Nicola to put together, and many of you will remember Nicola, she heads up the Kpop division, to put together a short presentation on where we are and what we're doing. Nicola.
Okay. So as you are, I'm sure, aware, we have Madrid coming up in July and then London in September. Currently, from the Madrid front, those of you who've been following us will know the bands that we have. We've got Shiny, the first time that they will have played together since they did their military stint. Enhypen, Ive, Atiz, Stacy, Gravity, and Zykas. Zykas are one of the hottest rookie bands. The ticket prices have ranged from sort of the 70 euros upwards, but averaging of 120. And we have sold out both our VIP and gold zones, so your sort of more elite zones. I've just put some basic facts here on these artists. In the time since we launched our ticket sales, Enhypen went up 1.8 million followers alone. So we're anticipating a lot of people coming just to see them. Going through just the very basics on each of the groups. The merchandise today, actually, I think simultaneously with this meeting, we've released our merchandise for Madrid. As you can see, we have bucket caps, fans, the actual light sticks, and this character here is currently in a social media competition to be named by our fan base. It is a plush very similar to those that we did for Frankfurt last year. It's the bear because that's what's on the shield for the city of Madrid. The specific Madrid concert merchandise you can see has Madrid written on there. As far as London is concerned, we are looking at about approximately 16,500 tickets per day to sell. 3 hours of live music again. We have kept our entry-level price as low as possible, going up higher. We will have a different S-list artist each day. Then there will be 7 rookies alternating, 7 A-list artists alternating across the 3 days, and then rookie artists at the end. We will be releasing the tickets on sale date, the first half of July. We would obviously ideally like to do it as soon as possible. So bearing in mind, that's what we're aiming for. We have created VIP and VVIP packages as add-ons that will take place in the Indigo space. So people will purchase their ticket and then they can purchase either individual day tickets or a 3-day festival ticket. And they can do the same with the VIP and VVIP add-ons. This is just some of the generic sort of Kpop Lux branded merch. I know that a lot of you have asked questions relating to Frankfurt. In a way, we asked them too. As you know, we are not the promoters of that event. We're merely one of the parties involved in it. We were tasked with sourcing what we call A-list artists, so tier category 2 artists and rookies for the show. We had done that, and we continue to do that with the likes of The Boys, etc. The S-list artists were supposed to be the promoter side of things, and they have been doing that, and we are continuing to support them in signing up the S-list artists. As you're aware, it was rescheduled from its previous dates in June to October. It was an available date with the stadium, and that's what the promoter and stadium have given us. We are hoping to be able to announce headline acts in the next couple of weeks. But again, we can only do what information we are given can we pass on. And that is it on that.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much indeed for your update. Ladies and gentlemen, please do continue to submit your questions using the Q&A tab, just situated on the right-hand corner of your screen. But just while the company takes a few moments to review the questions submitted already, I'd just like to remind you that a recording of this presentation, along with a copy of the slides and the published Q&A, will be available via your Investor Meet company dashboard. David, Nicola, we have received a number of questions throughout your presentation, and we did receive a number ahead of today's presentation. So if I may, just start off with the Q&A with the first one, which reads as follows. When will you release bands for London, as there are 5 other big K-pop events in the UK in the same month, and I think they're already sold out. These K-pop fans only have so many concerts they'll buy. So from that point of view, to fill out 3 days, do we have very different lineups for each day? I don't know if you could just expand.
I can speak to that. Yes, the lineups are different for each day, obviously because selling a festival ticket, they need to be. The headline acts on each of those days are as big as or close to the individual acts, which I think the person or the shareholder is referring to, as I am aware of 3 artists that are performing in September that would be any relevance or have any impact on our sales. Beyond that, they are the ones that I've found are very, very small and wouldn't have any impact. The lineup, completely different. When we release ticket sales and tickets go on sale, they will go on sale with the headline acts.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed. Next question reads as follows. What guarantee can you give that the company won't go private, as kind of is speculated around?
I'd like to talk to that because I saw some of the questions referred to going private. It's never been my intention to take this company private. And whilst I'm here, and I hope I will be here for a little bit longer, there will be no desire to have this company go private. It's been a long time since we started, or it seems a long time. We hit the COVID period, and now we're coming out of COVID. It's my mission, or my personal mission, that everybody's invested in this company will see that they get their investment back. I'm incredibly positive about where we're going and believe that as time goes by, our share price will rise to what the value of the company is. I don't need to tell you what the broker's note said. It said that the value of the company was very undervalued. I believe that as well. Now, I'm sure some of you will want to know why we changed our auditors. Well, to be frank, we're going to make some changes during the autumn, and I wanted the company to have the best kind of auditors it could have. As you know, our new auditors are a top 10 auditor. To come on board, to be onboarded, they had to do a lot of due diligence. I'm pleased to say we had a unanimous acceptance on being involved with Live Company. And that's not to say that the previous auditors, there's nothing wrong with them. I just wanted to change and be have a different people on side. The reality is, because everything was a little late and getting new people on board is quite a tricky process, the shares will be suspended. The shares will be suspended on July the 3rd, but both the auditors and the management and myself believe that the audit will be signed and fully done during July. So that period of suspension will be really limited. And that means, I suppose, that anybody who wants to buy or sell, there's only 4 days left before the period of suspension comes into play. There will be a lot of news flow coming out during the month of July. And I think when we come back from suspension and the audit is published, there will be another webinar. And I think a great deal of water will have flowed under the bridge. And I think that a lot of people will look at this company and say, it's really undervalued. So that's where we are, and no intention whatsoever to go private. I've no idea where that's come from, but I can assure you 100% that's the case.
That's great, David. Thank you very much for clearing that up. We've got a couple of questions around London, so thank you to Jamie for your question. His question reads as follows: when will the acts be announced for London? And if I can maybe add that as well to when will the O2 London tickets go on sale?
Yeah, so that I will answer. I tried to allude to it in the presentation, the first half of July. Obviously, in a perfect world, we'd love to do it in the first week, but it may end up being in the second week. It comes down to a question of assets and having sufficient assets to launch properly from a social media perspective. But as I said, when we do launch, we will launch with 3 different headline acts for each of the days. Subsequent acts will be announced within a period of a maximum of 3 weeks from the first announcement.
That's great, thank you. Lots of questions coming in, and if I don't read out your specific question, I think they may dovetail into a few of the others. So are you looking at other K-pop venues, countries, and wouldn't a one-day concert like Madrid be better an option, so guaranteeing almost that they'll be sold out?
I don't think we're going to have a problem with the London one across 3 days, and it is across 3 days because the venue size isn't large at sort of 16,500 to 17,000 pax per day. As you can imagine, one needs 3 days to basically equal a normal arena in that environment. I think, David, you are looking at further venues, right? Further countries, locations?
Well, our relationship with SBS is only for 2 events, and working with SBS is a fantastic experience because they deliver the artists. There is a potential maybe in the new year to look at one further location with them, but I'm not here to build 60 K-pop events. I'm here to make a limited number of events that are very successful, both in terms of fan base and in terms of profit. We have experimented with being, if you like, a partner, but not the promoter or anything in Japan. The event in Japan was postponed and will take place now in the new year. We are paid a fee for our services there, and I can assure those who've asked the question, because I've seen that as well, we've actually been paid 75% of our fee. So in terms of reward for what we've done, we've been rewarded very well. However, Japan is an interesting place, and I think the better time for running the event will be in the new year. And anyway, it's not my decision, it's the promoters of the event's decision. As I said, we've been paid 75% of the monies. But to be honest, is this going to always be a K-pop company? No, it's going to be a multi-faceted company. K-pop will be an important division within the company. But what I've learned from the Kpop business is we were ahead of the curve. We were the first one out of the blocks. Lots of people are trying to do the same thing. Some successfully, quite a lot not so successfully. So I think the key is to reduce the best events we can, the most profitable events we can, and basically not try and be too adventurous. We will do new things. We will do other things in the K-pop space, but slowly but surely is my motto on this.
That's great. Thank you, David. We've touched on the auditors, so thank you for that question. Changing gears maybe, are we anywhere forward in terms of a main sponsor for the Formula E event?
We are. We have two different people, two different clients we're talking to, and I think that decision will be made in September. They're both household names, and it's not for me to say any more than that.
Many thanks. Thank you very much indeed. Just a question here around a trading update in terms of timing. Will one be issued after the Madrid festival?
Well, what I'd like to do is actually do a webinar from the Madrid festival. That'll be a Saturday, so I don't stretch some of your patience. But I think it would be a nice thing to do when the event is in full swing. I pretty much know the numbers there, and I'll be able to share, I think, quite a lot of the information going forward to London. And then, as I said, as and when the accounts are published, which I believe will be before the end of July, we'll be looking to create a trading update and a webinar where many people can ask questions going forward. And there's a whole bunch of new activity that will come to place in the autumn, and I see that taking place after the holidays sometime during September.
Thank you very much indeed. Question here from Roger B. Thank you, Roger. How are the Spain and UK concerts being paid for? Is there a promoter for each event who is being paid for the upfront costs?
Well, they're both different. In Spain, we're working with a local Spanish promoter. In terms of London, we are the promoter.
Thank you very much indeed. Quite a few questions coming in. I'm just trying to make sure that we let's change the subject maybe. There seems to be far fewer Brick Live tours this summer. Is there a reason for that? Paw Patrol, for example, doesn't appear to have been out for ages. I
think that we've obviously the period of the COVID changed people's attitudes towards towards buying or renting these tours. You've seen the numbers, and they are published in the broker's note. The division will be profitable this year, and I believe that the latter part of the year, the last quarter, will see quite a few new bookings, although we've just announced a couple of American bookings over the last 2 months. And we are in discussion, quite interesting discussions, for a new, if you like, area of activity, which again will be released in the early part of the autumn.
That's great. Thank you very much indeed. Will the live company group be live streaming at the Madrid and London concerts?
There will be live streaming of both events. The interesting thing about the streaming is that we've had 2 bidders for both events from Japan. So we're settling which one we're going to choose actually today. And the amounts of money for just Japan are quite extensive and are beyond our budget for the year. We're also starting discussions in South America, because one of the reasons I was interested in Madrid was I believe that there's a lot of K-pop fans, Hispanic K-pop fans in South America. And I believe if we get it right, that could be quite an interesting area to develop.
Thanks, David. Question here from Liam David. When do you anticipate recruiting a new CFO and maybe a CEO to take the pressure off of your good self? Liam mentions that you may have mentioned this previously.
We've actually interviewed quite a few people, and we're working now with an interim finance director based out of Cape Town. And so that's been very helpful with obviously the audit going through. I think we'll be announcing a new CFO in September as part of, there'll be quite a few changes happening in that period. and one of those will be the announcement of a new CFO.
That's great. I'm just checking that there aren't any other further questions to come through. We've got one question to end on, which comes from Ali A. Thank you, Ali. And it says, David, what do you think you can do to get the share price to 20p and better reflect the value of the company, I guess, by the end of the year?
That's a super dangerous question to answer. Super dangerous question to answer. I think I said right at the very beginning, and maybe I can reiterate, we didn't write the broker's note. It was written by somebody else. I think the broker's note sort of, for the first time in years, really brought people up to speed on the value of the company and where we're going. We're going from a difficult period through an interesting phase, and then we're going into profit. And profit usually brings share price changes. I think the value that the broker note said was like 11 or 12p, I believe, was the number that they felt that the company should be valued at. I've been working very hard, not just on what we're doing, but on how I can transform this business going forward. I don't think it's right that we look to the market for funding. I think we've done a lot of placings. Many of you have partaken in them. But I think that we have to come to an end. There's no future placings in my mind. I would like to build an alliance with individual funding partners for individual events, which will mean that we can grow this business, but we will never be short of cash, which is very important when you're building a business. So a great deal of time has been spent in trying to find the right partners. And as I said, September, October is the time when I think a lot of this will be announceable. But for those who are worried we're going to run and do another placing, we have no intention to do that. So we're no intention of going private, no intention of having another placing. Yes, we have an intention of enlarging the staff, choosing a CFO, choosing a CEO that can help this company grow and go forward.
That's lovely. Thank you, Derek, for your question. We are obviously giving as many of these questions out as we can. And I think maybe just this one to wrap on with that's sneaked in. So thank you very much indeed to Roger. What percentage of tickets need to be sold for the Spain concert to make it profitable?
Well, we're in profit already. My personal view, is that all of the key areas are sold out. There's a lot of areas in the stadium which are sort of tough to be in. So if you take the available space, that's not really relevant. I think that we will ultimately sell out 75% of the tickets in total, and that makes us a significant profit. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it'll be 80, but it's certainly passed a long time ago. And as regards London, it's a small venue. And I think the artists we have lined up are going to be really fantastic. And if I was a betting man, I would say we will be closer to 90% in London.
David, Nicola, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody for your questions this afternoon. If there are any further questions, obviously we'll make those available to the company and we'll publish those.
Can I just say one more thing?
You can say as much as you like, no problem.
I know it sounds strange for some of you, but I'm really enthused by the new auditor. And they've got some really talented people there who will definitely be there as we grow the company. But there are only 4 days left before we voluntarily suspend our shares. So there's 4 days. And guys, I really believe in this company. It's time to buy, not to sell.
David, I was going to ask you for closing comments, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. So, David, Nicola, thank you very much indeed for your time this afternoon, and we will obviously publish the questions on the Investor Meet Company platform in due course. Could I please ask investors not to close this session, as we'll now automatically redirect you to provide your feedback in order that the company can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete, but I'm sure will be greatly valued by the company. On behalf of the management team of Live Company Group PLC, I would like to thank you for attending today's presentation. That now concludes today's session, and good afternoon to you all.